Betty looking for a home. She was touring a house and she saw cameras everywhere. She's wondering, and this is happening all over the country and the world, is it legal, at least here in Kentucky? Cora.
Good morning, Betty.
Good morning.
And I think you are probably seeing what all of us are these days, whether it be the Ring systems or the Nest systems, or we have professionals installing it, or we go to Costco and we buy our own. It's become vastly affordable as well as accessible to have our own security systems, cameras, recording devices in the homes. So let me just kind of unpack that question a little bit. First of all, is it legal? Maybe. But, I also want to talk a little bit about kind of custom and best practices, because I think that may lend itself to answering your question just as well. So first of all, custom, I just told you, I think we're seeing that more and more. I think a lot of the real estate professionals like the Bob Sokoler team will let folks know when they see those before they go on those buyer showings, hey, let's have our conversations off record. Let's go, view the homes. And then once we're done viewing the homes, we'll circle back around. We'll have conversations. So kind of refrain from giving any comments or opinions, I should say, or discussions while you're viewing the home. You're just there to view it. Now, if you have questions regarding, hey, is this the door to the laundry room? Totally fine. But anything that could impact the negotiation of your transaction, or anything that could be perceived unfriendly, like, oh my gosh, this is the ugliest yellow floor I've ever seen. You probably want to refrain from any of that and have those discussions with your real estate practitioner outside of the home. Not necessarily outside on the front porch where there could still be cameras, but, away from that environment where somebody could be listening or somebody could be watching. So we always want to be cognizant of that. Secondly, I think from the listing standpoint, I think all the real estate professionals are having those conversations with the sellers regarding some listening devices. Now, the ones such as the cameras that clearly you're viewing, Betty, if you've seen them in the home, they're open and obvious. So you're being recorded or potentially being recorded, and you should act accordingly. I don't really see a disclosure piece for that. But then there are some people who have those, and I call them nanny cams, if you will, right? Like those hidden cameras. That I want to proceed with caution with sellers who want to put those types of devices in the home, because I think even though in Kentucky, my understanding is you can record somebody from a listening standpoint with, if there's two people in a conversation with one of the person's knowledge. So if it's me and Bob, I can record Bob without Bob admitting or approving it, as long as I approve of it. But I think disclosure is always a best practice. I don't ever want to get in a situation where, that could destroy a transaction, or worse, because we have to abide by fair housing laws in the state of Kentucky as well. So could those cameras, could those listening devices give rise or give legs to a fair housing claim later on? Maybe. So again, summarize best practices is, I think they're probably fine to be there, especially one that are open and obvious. Act accordingly. Be careful about what you say and what you do while you're viewing the home. I could certainly see sellers wanting to protect their home while it's being viewed by strangers when they're not there. And then, lastly, if you're on the sales side, we want to disclose that, have those conversations with our real estate professionals, especially if you're wanting to hide those devices and the risks associated with that.
Got it. So the takeaway here is, if you're looking at homes, be aware you are probably, just presume you're being recorded.
Yes, sir. Act accordingly.
If you want to see a replay of this show, it's actually visual as well as radio as you're hearing it now. You can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com.